Back with more Teen Wolf. This is episode 5 of season 1. Very excited to see what's going to be happening next. Last time, Derek nearly died, which wasn't ideal. But he can't die before we've gotten all his Hale family history exposition and stuff and learning about what's going on with that, which I've got a few more hints at towards the end. So that mystery's kind of deepening. And Alison's aunt showed up in town, another hunter, kind of there to team up with her brother, I guess, and do some hunting. So, the list of problems for Scott and co grows longer and longer each episode, but, that's kind of the natural order of things in a TV show, really, isn't it? So yeah, I'm excited to see all the twists and turns and trials and tribulations of that and where that's all going. Just kind of a personal kind of update, I guess, or something to bear in mind with this one. The UK, where I live, is currently in the middle of a heat wave. We've just had the hottest day ever recorded in the UK here. So, if I become a sweaty mess by the end of this, I apologise, but that's the explanation as to why I'm like, ugh. I've also got, a banging headache and stuff because my body just doesn't like the heat, it just shuts down. So I always get a bit sick and etc. when it's way, way hot. So if I'm a bit like, I'm a sweaty mess during the entire reaction, apologies, but that's why. Just letting you know that in case you're like, God, he does not look okay. I know it's a mess. Either way, what's also probably going to be a mess is, the current situation in the show, because it's just going to get messier and messier, isn't it? So I'm excited to see their lives fall apart and hopefully distract me from the heat for a bit. So we'll see what Scott has to deal with this time around. Probably some nonsense. So let's get into the next episode.
I am not watching The Notebook again.
Or maybe you are.
Help me find The Notebook.
Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Well. Is there only one copy of the Notebook left and they have to fight for it? Yeah, I just accept my fate at this point. Oh, okay. Interesting. Agreed.
Okay, now I want to go home. Oh, whoa, is that a dead body? Starting to get it.
Batman and Robin themselves. Here they are. Oh. Spirally thing again.
I have to go to a parent-teacher conference tomorrow because I'm failing chemistry. You want to do homework?
You're not failing it with Allison, though.
Right after you were hit? Yeah, it changed back. And when you were hit by his car, same thing, right? What's the common denominator?
Pain. Hooray.
What are you doing?
It's a family heirloom. And you know me, I hate and loathe all sentimental crap.
This is your birthday?
No. I mean, yes. Well, you're asking someone who's never skipped one class to bail out an entire day, and I don't.
See, that's perfect. If you get caught, then they'll go easy on you.
Well, what if you get caught?
You can eat them.
Trying to think about that.
Students below a C average are required to attend. I won't name you because the shame and self-disgust should be more than enough punishment.
Oh. Wow. I didn't know they had lights on. Oh! Okay.
I didn't see anything. I'm not lying. You should really get that checked out.
I mean, that is good advice. The rest of it is giving off creepy vibes, Derek, I will admit, but that is good advice.
Lydia's totally MIA. Jackson looks like he's got a time bomb inserted into his face. Another random guy's dead, and you have to do something about it. Like what? Something.
Maybe not chat about it in the corridor on the phone.
Well, what if I did this?
Strings out.
And if I did this?
I'd beg for mercy.
Honey, there's a Styles here to see you.
What the hell is a Styles?
Aww, he's checking up on her.
Bet you can't say I saw Susie sitting in a shoe shine shop 10 times fast.
I saw Susie. I saw. I saw.
Trees of green, red roses too.
What did you see?
A mountain lion.
What's this?
A mountain lion.
Hell of a choice of a day out. Let's go to the woods where all the wolves are.
Stay.
She's very on drug styles.
Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
And we're done here.
Oh, buddy. Oh. Wow, Edward Cullen on the left. Yeah, what's the tattoo thing about? Tell me. Yes, we know. He is a very healthy man.
If you want to provoke him, say something like, "Too bad your sister bit it before she had her first litter. Too bad
Wow.
she howled like a bitch."
Parkour! That was an attempt.
I don't know whether to kill it or lick it.
Hey,
Lick it?
it's me again.
My.
Please tell me I'm going to hear good news at this parent-teacher thing tonight.
Depends on how you define good news.
I define it as you getting straight A's with no behavioral issues.
Might want to rethink that definition.
He seems like the guy who'd be smart if he just applied himself.
Come on, Scott, where the hell are you?
Did you just straight up nick her phone? This is my reality. All my friends are out doing that. I'm just sat like... Oh, damn. Okay.
900,000 volts.
Fucking hell.
You never were good with electricity, were you? Or fire?
I mean, not many people are.
We didn't kill your sister.
So you could tell with Jackson earlier, couldn't he?
Found bite marks on your sister's body, Derek. What do you think did that?
Oh.
A mountain lion?
One of these days actually is going to be a mountain lion, and they're all going to be sorry.
What you've been guessing all along, which is the alpha killed your sister. Guess who just became totally useless?
My gosh, she's so extra. So that's 2 times she's tried to kill him and failed. Not looking great for her track record.
It's interesting. Actually, this is the interesting one.
Oh.
I see what you mean. I'm sorry, I've got a sick Doberman that needs my attention.
No other ideas?
Do you know more than you're letting on?
I know if you were lying anyway.
Oh, really?
You have a tell. Touch your eyebrow. Right here.
Let's see if you can figure out if I'm lying now. I wish that my parents weren't coming home from the teacher conferences, so I could spend the rest of the day with you. Well, the rest of the night.
Hey up.
With me?
No, with Styles.
The parent-teacher conferences, I'm supposed to be there. Plus, like everything.
What are they going on now?
He's always been real hard on himself. It's just something we assumed was an effect of him being adopted.
I think I understand. He's never met his biological parents.
Oh,
That's
okay,
right. The
interesting.
need to please, the overachieving, the desire to make someone proud.
Academically, Lydia's one of the finest students I've ever had. Her AP
Yeah.
classes push her GPA above a 5.0. I'd actually like to have her IQ tested.
I thought Styles was his last name.
His last name is Stalinsky.
You named your kid Styles Stalinsky?
No, that's just what he likes to be called.
You know how to pronounce that?
It was his mother's father's name.
Wow.
So his grandfather's name.
Really love your wife.
Yeah, I did.
Well, this just became incredible. Great kid, zero ability to focus. Super smart, never takes advantage of his talents. He detailed the entire history of the male circumcision.
Well, I mean, it does have historical significance, right? I mean,
I teach economics.
oh, crap.
I'm not sure what you mean by home situation.
Specifically, the lack of an authority figure.
Yeah, I'm the authority figure, so.
Excuse me.
Sorry. Allow me to clarify. I mean the lack of a male authority figure.
Okay.
Well, trust me, we're much better off without him in the picture.
I'd be really pissed off if a teacher made that kind of assumption. Like, I don't think it's your place to say that.
We have a great relationship with our daughter. Very open and honest.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And let her know that I hope she's feeling better.
She was in class.
Oh, she wasn't in school. I checked with the office.
Oh.
I'm Scott's mom, and I hate to say it, but he's not answering his phone either.
You're his mother?
Funny how
That's
you
what she
say
just
that
said.
like it's an accusation.
Well, I wouldn't claim it as a source of pride since he basically kidnapped my daughter today.
How do I know
Okay,
that
you
this
pipe the
wasn't
fuck
your
down,
daughter's
sir.
idea?
In the car.
Ooh, who's conveniently dying? Christ. Oh, shit! I mean, you said move, they did. Sure. You're super focused on your daughter as soon as that turns up, eh, pal? Priorities. He really was a mountain lion. Well, there you go. I'm sure there's not an alpha or anything at all. It's all a misunderstanding. Okay, a very good episode again. This one's kind of interesting 'cause I feel like the other episodes have kind of, I think, had like a storyline running through it that's kind of been resolved by the end and felt like fully complete, and there's been other arcs in the background that kind of like the long running stuff that's going to take like entire season or more seasons to kind of wrap up, like, you know, the mystery of like the Hales and stuff like that. Whereas this one, it felt like a lot of those little ones is like still to be explored, and like I feel like this didn't really have anything in it that wrapped up, and like had like a complete arc, and like that's tied neatly in the both, and that's the story of this episode. It felt like it's lots of little stories that will continue to be set up. So it's kind of like a middle ground episode, I guess, like moving the chess pieces around. And I think normally I wouldn't like that about an episode. I feel like I'd want something to kind of carry it through plot wise, but I don't know, I feel like this was actually handled very well, and you know, it still did kind of advance maybe more so character things and revealed more about characters than like an overall plot, because I think kind of with the exception of you know, maybe what's going on with Jackson, and Derek finding out that these hunters didn't actually kill his sister. It's probably Alpha, but he seemed to like think and assume that maybe anyway. And a few more people maybe cottoning on to, you know, creatures that maybe aren't mountain lions out and about, like that scene with Styles' dad, the sheriff, and the vet guy, Father Gabriel, as he will henceforth be known by me as a Walking Dead fan. You know, a few little things like that. Outside of that, I feel like, you know, things are basically the same as when we left them in the last one, which I do find interesting. The fact that I think more so this was more getting to know the characters a bit more, giving them some room to breathe while also setting some stuff up for that and continuing a few minor little things. And yeah, the way they handled it, I actually think it doesn't feel like filler when maybe in other shows it probably would. So I quite enjoy that there's room to breathe in here. I think what this shows is that, you know, I mean, I can't speak to it yet because I haven't seen the rest of this season. I haven't seen seasons beyond, but it feels like they're very, very confident in the pacing of this season. In particular, it feels like they really know where they're going with the story, at least for this first season. So I believe there are 12 episodes, so basically we're nearly at the halfway point. for season 1 anyway. So I do find that really interesting, how they've handled that, and what could otherwise feel very fillery, because I don't think too much really drastically changed or got moved along, is still an enjoyable experience. I think some of that, it's one of those things I think as well, like where you enjoy the characters so much and you like living in this world with them so much, they can kind of do anything as long as you kind of there with them, and I think you can have a good time with it. And this definitely feels like that one to me. I think this could have easily been like a, oh, well, not much really happened episode, but I think the focus on some more kind of character revealing stuff was really effective. I mean, framing it in like the para-teachant, para-teachant, I've mixed the two words up there, parent-teacher kind of night, it's very, these people are talking in a way they wouldn't actually talk, so that we can get exposition about this is what this character's like. Jackson being like, oh, he wants to prove himself, and it felt very much like this is a script rather than this is how people would talk in this situation. But I think the way they framed it as like the parent-teacher thing, I think is a good enough reason to kind of get that dialogue out there and allow us to get to know these characters a bit more and see how they tick. I think the fact that Jackson's adopted, and that may make him desperate to prove himself to basically everyone, that explains so much about how he's been. And I think he's felt very threatened by Scott in that sense. He's so used to kind of being, I guess, the best on the team and, kind of the top dog. He's kind of been the alpha of the pack in school, if you will. And, seeing Scott improve as he has and kind of, been better at the sport than him, etc., etc. That threatening kind of thing with him. That's kind of, I guess, brought Jackson to question himself again and, feel like he needs to prove himself all over again, just where he may be feeling settled with that. It's bringing up all that worry and all that anxiety and that obsessive nature in him, it seems. So, while he was so obsessed and like, you're hiding something, Scott, I'm going to work out what it is, he clearly, we've got some kind of context to why he gets obsessive like that in this, and I thought that was done really well in how they revealed that, and it makes perfect sense, that kind of later reveal for Jackson being adopted and stuff. So I really like that gives his character a huge amount of grounding, and I think also a lot of sympathy, at least for me. You're like, okay, that makes so much sense, which I really like, because you still don't necessarily agree with his treatment of Scott in particular, but I do think they are kind of giving some explanations behind him now, which I really enjoyed. Same with Lydia. They were kind of saying she's super smart, potentially, one of the smartest people probably in the whole Gonan place, getting IQ tests potentially and stuff, so she's like super smart, but she doesn't let that on. And they've done enough to kind of hint that she is super clever in these past few episodes. I think I even talked about it in the previous episode, that clearly Lydia's a lot smarter than she lets on. And they, all but confirmed that in this one. So I really did enjoy that. And we also learned, her parents aren't together. She's kind of maybe being split between loyalties with them as well. That's going to cause a lot of kind of stress for her, I imagine. She didn't respond to, the events at the video store particularly well either. I mean, neither did Jackson. And I'm wondering what's happening with that. Clearly getting injured like that saved Jackson's life there, because the Alpha seemed quite interested in it, and it almost like it glowed purpley or something when he the Alpha put his claw near it. So I don't know if he did something to that, or he's like, I don't know, taking a scent from it or something. I don't know what's going on there. I'm sure they'll explain that, but clearly I think that's what stopped Jackson becoming dog food there, wolf food. But is that also affecting Jackson? Because then we saw him get really, really angry at the sheriff about wanting to go home and stuff. So I don't know if maybe, I mean, he wasn't bitten, he was just scratched. So, is he changing, or is he partially affected, or is he just an angry boy, a stressed angry boy, which could also be the case as well. So I am intrigued to see where that goes. But again, it felt like they set up a little arc for Jackson this episode, and then it didn't go anywhere really. So, that's kind of what I mean about a thing didn't get fully wrapped up in this one. Same with Lydia, she was kind of there, and they explored her stuff a bit with her and Styles. But, I think particularly with Jackson, he kind of then disappeared from the last chunk of the episode, really. So, they're kind of holding off more exploration for them with the future of the series, which I think is interesting, that it didn't feel like there was a complete arc there, where it almost felt like the episode was setting up to do that, which I think is actually a really interesting kind of way of changing it up, which I think is why it worked, rather than feeling undercooked. I think the promise of like, we are going somewhere with this, I think they actually achieved quite well compared to maybe some other shows where it's like, that's a really great idea, a really good character moment, but they didn't really explore that properly, and they're not going to. With this, that they're going to. So I really enjoyed what they revealed about the characters in that way. Same with Styles, even earlier in this episode when I was watching, so I think he would be very clever if he applied himself a bit more. And then, what the teacher was saying, he's very easily distracted and stuff like that. But you can see when he gets laser focused on a project, he will do what he needs to. He did all that research and stuff. He was, very much trying to take his own initiative in this episode about what to do with the whole Lydia situation, and having that picture of the Alpha on Lydia's phone. I don't think he should have deleted it. He also shouldn't have just stolen Lydia's phone. But, there's that. But it didn't matter anyway, because they just had CCTV footage. So that was handy. So yeah, that is interesting, kind of what they revealed about the characters with that. I thought that was really fun. And it's just nice that I am reading these characters correctly, and because I'm kind of getting this sense of them in the episodes, and then they kind of providing context, and we're getting kind of confirmation of what I've been feeling about these characters. So clearly, in the writing and the performance and stuff, they're doing a good job of setting those ones up. So yeah, excited to see where all that continues to lead, and I think Jackson and Lydia are definitely going to be brought into this whole world more. And I think this is kind of the start of that. Alison as well, obviously, she's unknowingly in that world. So the thing with her dad and stuff, I don't think she quite understands where all that's going. But even with this one, she got a bit closer because Kate gave her the necklace for her birthday and stuff. So I'm guessing that's going to be something. Maybe that's how she's going to find stuff out. I think she will probably look up that symbol eventually. I mean, it wasn't particularly subtle, was it? So yeah, I mean, you can see that they are setting stuff up. So I think that's another reason why it doesn't feel like kind of very fillery for the most part. It's because they're going somewhere with this, and it's just like, well, we had an extra episode, let's just have them do whatever, and let's just vibe. I think that's why it still works and holds together really well, and it's still very engaging. So yeah, I think Chris, I think that's Alison's dad's name, it seems he will care about his daughter until a wolf comes along, or a potential wolf comes along, when it turns out to be a mountain lion. I like that something did turn out to be a mountain lion. That's quite funny. Yeah, it just seems like his priorities suddenly drop, and he doesn't actually care as much if there's a wolf about. So I'm guessing that, there's probably a very complex history there. That means his blood boils at the thought of a wolf, and he's like, yes, Alison, I'm telling you off because this was a dangerous feat. Oh, a wolf. Bye, Alison. Get out of here, daughter. How dare you lie to me, daughter I'm lying to every day. So, a bit of hypocrisy there. But again, I think that's something that's going to be explained, and maybe not justified, but at least explained, kind of like Jackson and being adopted and stuff kind of really informs and puts into perspective how he's behaved up till now. I think they're going to do the same with Chris and his backstory, kind of learning how he got into the whole hunter business and stuff like that. Same with Kate. I mean, at least with Chris, I don't think he actively enjoys it. I think he feels like it's more of a duty, and he has to. Kate gets some absolute glee out of like hunting Derek down and zapping him and stuff. As we saw in this one, she's kind of very malicious about that, and she enjoyed every second of watching him kind of squirm on the floor. And she enjoyed dropping the bombshell that, it was probably the Alpha that killed his sister, not the hunters. So, incredibly smug for someone who's admitting she's quite shit at her job. But, good for her, I guess. I'm not really particularly rooting for her in this episode, but, she's failed to kill him twice. And she's like, well, us hunters didn't actually hunt the thing, so, so you're shit then, is what you're saying. But she kind of, she spun it around, so clever. But yeah, I'm enjoying that we're seeing a bit more of them, and I really hope we get an episode very soon really, really focused on the hunters and, you know, on that backstory for Chris and Kate and seeing how that all kind of came about. You know, and again, even with that, it informed us more stuff about Alison. You know, the fact that she was, she has to kind of repeat a year and stuff like that because she's moved around so much. She can't really concentrate on things. And again, I think that shows in what we've seen with Chris. You know, as soon as there was potentially a wolf, he was like, well, Alison, get out of here, bye, whatever, I don't care about you now, there's a wolf I can shoot. You know, the fact that they're moving about all the time, he's kind of putting, I guess, his wolf hunting above his daughter's well-being and education. So again, kind of tying into the priorities. Still not entirely sure if the wife knows about what he's doing and what's going on with that. The fact that she is agreeing to all these moves and not questioning it makes me think maybe she's aware, but we haven't really got any confirmation of that yet. So I'm looking forward to answers about that as well. And yeah, I enjoyed seeing a bit more of Styles and his dad and their interactions and stuff. They do seem to have, you know, it's kind of played for laughs, their bond, but you know, I think there's some genuine care there that I'd like to see explored at some point. And yeah, they're also getting Styles' dad more involved in like the whole mystery. He's aware that maybe there's something a bit weird going on now with, you know, the alpha roaming around. He knows it's probably not a mountain lion, but maybe this actual mountain lion will convince him that he's being crazy and it just goes back to normal. Probably not because of the CCTV, but we'll see. His scene with the vet was interesting. Because the vet seemed to know more than he was letting on. So I don't know if that's just a thing or maybe I'm just reading too much into it. But I'm looking forward to seeing more of that anyway. Especially because he was only in that one scene in this episode. It feels a bit weird, like, why are you in this episode just for that one scene if you're not going somewhere with that, you know? You could have just had a scene of Jackson's dad looking at that CCTV being like, oh shit, that's not a mountain lion. You didn't need the vet for that. So I'm guessing maybe that's setting up something for that character. You know, again, why this episode I think succeeds and isn't very fillery, and even though a lot of it feels that way, it feels like they are setting stuff up. It feels very purposeful what they're doing with it all. So I'm intrigued to see where that goes or doesn't go. Maybe again I'm just talking shit. And yeah, everything with Styles, you know, very concerned about Lydia. It's coming from a place because he has a massive crush on her, yes, rather than maybe genuine unselfish care, granted, because he's a teenage boy. But I do like that he kept checking up on her and stuff, and you know, it all spiraling into, oh shit, there's some CCTV of the alpha. You know, that came after. You know, it wasn't like he went there because he knew he was going to get something like that. He went there just because he wanted to make sure she was alright, which is very wholesome. But she's still just hiding a can't-nose drugs and thought he was Jackson and stuff. So, bit of a kick in the balls there, buddy. But I think that's kind of just an ongoing thing. I don't know. I'm aware that there is like people who ship those two together. I'm aware that Stydia is a thing. I've heard Stydia. So I don't know if that means they ever become a couple or anything like that, or if it's just one of those things, people shipping, you know, every show has characters that get shipped and they don't actually get together or anything. I very rarely fall into shipping characters that don't at least get together, even if they don't end up together, they do get together. But I'm kind of getting the my shipper goggles. That's what these are. I'm kind of getting those vibes from Styles and Lydia. Again, don't know if it goes anywhere. It might just be a running gag that he has a crush on her, and she's like, what the hell even is the Styles, or whatever she said, which was very funny. But again, it feels purposeful that they're giving them a scene together like that. So, don't know, but I'm kind of getting it. You know, we'll see. And then on the other hand of that, we had Scott and Alison just living their best life. They're just vibing in the woods, you know, which Scott is doing more and more of, I guess, because Wolf and everything. So, yeah, I mean, their scenes of them just hanging out and stuff, they're just kind of there. We know they're together. We know they're happy together. We know they're kind of falling in love or whatever. You know, they really kind of hammed that home. But they are quite sweet. And it is nice to kind of see examples that Scott can still be happy and have a good relationship with someone with this life, but inevitably it's probably going to go horribly wrong, and you know, Alison's going to have to find out at some point because it's probably not going to be safe for them to lie to her forever. You know, it's going to be a bit of a downer probably if he eats her on a date or something. You know, not great. And on top of that, Alison would then find out maybe Scott's been lying to her about what he does and what he is, and also her father's lying to her about what he is and what he does and stuff. So, she's in for a 1-2 punch, I feel, at some point. So, sad. But yeah, decent enough stuff with them. I will say, that was the stuff I was kind of least interested in this episode with them. Just because, we've seen, it didn't really reveal much new about their relationship in this one. But it was still fine and sweet, so, I wasn't, actively hating it. And then Derek, again, just going through it, being very weird and stalkery around Jackson. We had that weird moment with them, I think that was episode 2, maybe, I think, when he was just, staring him down across the football field, and he kind of interrogated him in this one, trying to read if he was lying or not. I kind of guessed that he was, kind of getting that intel. So he's not really doing a great job of making himself look innocent, and, being in the background of his investigation. I think Styles is being a bit more subtle and trying to get information. Derek's a lot more upfront with that, so, But he also doesn't care that he's being perceived as a weirdo or whatever, and he's already been arrested for something once already. He's probably like, oh, fuck it, I'll just be weird in front of everyone. I don't need friends or family or anything. Certainly doesn't need family because they're dead. So, yeah. Still being a bit weird, but I guess he's just owning it at this point, so why not? And yeah, I guess we'll see how he deals with the revelation about his sister. It's just going to make things even more personal, I guess, in his hunt for the alpha. But yeah, I think the Derek-Kate relationship, I think it's an interesting dynamic. I'd like to see them maybe get along at some point. I don't know if the Hunters and the Wolves will ever make peace or whatever. I don't know if that's going to be a goal for the show eventually, for them to actually join forces or find an understanding or make some kind of truce or something. But it would be fun to kind of see them get along. And I feel like for Alison's sake, surely Scott and Chris would have to get along at some point. But maybe they never do, and that's the drama of it. I don't know. It's only episode 5. So much could happen yet. And yeah, then Derek just got a bit electrocuted and then fled his house. And I think that was the last we saw of him in this one. So, he's not the luckiest of characters in this show thus far. But I do like the kind of mystery of him and his family's history and stuff and what's going on with that. It is very intriguing to me, and I like that they're continuing on that mystery and kind of giving us little pieces each episode. But, I wouldn't say I've got it all figured out yet. I don't know what it all means. Because prior to this, the Alpha, I feel like, had been attacking people connected to the Hales and all of that. Maybe retroactively the video store owner is going to be connected, but it just felt a bit random this time. Maybe, the Alpha just fancied a movie night and was like, I don't want to pay to rent it though. I'll just kill the guy and then take the last copy of the Notebook. So that's kind of thrown me off with that theory. But who knows? Who knows? I certainly don't. But yeah, Derek, once again, having a terrible time of things, / being weird stalkery, interrogaty vibes. We had him and Scott at the start on top of the building, like Batman and Robin, and then he just interrogated Jackson. In the shower room, being like, tell me what you know, you liar. But I did like that they used that to set up him ultimately having to believe Kate later on, because he can tell when people are lying and stuff. I thought that was well set up and paid off. So that was kind of a little arc that did kind of have a conclusion, I guess. But yeah, I enjoyed everything with him as well. I look forward to seeing more of that story unfold. But overall, another really, really strong episode. I can't wait to see how it all kind of continues on. And yeah, the episode, I don't think really has like a full arc to it in a way that the other episodes has. It doesn't feel like it's really concluded anything it's set up in the same episode, storyline-wise or character-wise. But the confidence in which it doesn't do those things is what makes it interesting to me, because it does feel purposeful in what they're choosing to explore now and what they're setting up now. And again, I think more so what this episode gives us, aside from a few tiny little plot things, is more so character advancements or just letting us get to know them a bit better, which I think is also needed. So I like the pacing of the show a lot so far. I think it's doing a really great job with that. So yeah, I look forward to seeing where things go next. But that is going to be everything for now. So until my next reaction, thanks for watching.